Welcome to part second of the video titled Open Challenge to Murex Options Pricing. Guys, option pricing is a package. Now, what the hell is package? It's like a buffet. You go to a 7-star hotel, anywhere you go to a 7-star hotel, and you will get a buffet. Now, in this buffet, you get vegetarian, you get non-vegetarian, you get lot of food items. Now, the biggest question is what you like or dislike. That hardly matters to that hotel. Hardly matters because he gives you a complete buffet and he charges for the complete buffet. So would be the sweets. After the dinner, you will pay, basically the sweets are part of that. You get sweets also. Okay, that's very good. Now you like the sweet or you do not like the sweet, that is your part. That is not the problem of that hotel. So similarly is the option pricing package. Now when it comes to the option pricing package, it includes the plain vanilla options, the first generation options, the second generation options, the third generation options, the payoffs, the structures, exotics, and more important is the clientele option. Now, what the hell is clientele option? Clientele option means the option which a user can create. So on Reuters, I create the clientele options. This is clientele option, which means that the option pricing should have the capability to create these options. I again repeat, I may create clientele options on Reuters, but that doesn't mean Reuters is perfect. Pricing is always an issue in that regards. That is a very important thing. Now, unfortunately, what happened? People open Reuters. When say people, the banks, they create clientele option and they tell the client the pricing. Either it is net debit or net credit. And client hardly understand these things, hardly. Client either agree to pay this or expect a tuned down approach. This is how it works worldwide. So India or any other country is not at all exception in that regards. If you are thinking they are exception, then unfortunately you are wrong. I got a working paper of Murex on the internet. Now this is the working paper. I not derived from a third party source, or it is not a confidential, it is on the Google. So I got it from the Google. This is the title of the working paper, which means the landscape ahead, FX option desk, a Murex expert series. Now, one thing I'm very clear and certain, which is that the Murex expert is zero in knowledge. And I'll prove this and I'll give an open challenge in that regards. Now, if I go this article, then one thing which is very clear and one thing which thoroughly missed is the non-deliverable piece. Look like the Murex expert is not aware that the world, as we speak, we are very close to April 2022, few days away, is having 24 non-deliverable currencies, which includes Indian rupee, Philippines peso, Malaysian ringgit, Chinese yuan, Vietnamese dong, Indonesian rupiah, Pakistani rupee, and number of currencies. I cannot name one by one by one. And the volume of non-deliverable forward, or rather precisely speaking, non-deliverable currencies is huge. It is huge. But in this whole article, it hasn't covered. But it is by Murex. Like I told you that Murex having a simplest philosophy. You speak and they send you a notice. But they do not know that there are people who can challenge them and challenge these bloody law firms like this. There are two important things which we need to understand now onwards. Number one is the Basel III mandatory updation by 2023 October, which means near about 15 months from now or 16 months from now, Basel III is mandatorily live for worldwide banks, financial institutions, hedge funds, corporates, government, sovereign wealth fund, almost everyone. It is mandatorily live and should be. So when it is mandatorily live, there is a concept called XVA, which includes valuation adjustment. Now, X means the count, which includes CVA, credit valuation adjustment, DVA, debit valuation adjustment, FVA, your funding valuation adjustment, KVA. K doesn't mean that, you might not knowing this. K means the capital valuation adjustment, MVA, margin valuation adjustment, total 13. So in the interest of time, I'm not naming all 13. When Basel III would be mandatory for hedge fund, financial institutions, proprietary institutions, the big banks like Goldman, JP and all, everyone are forceful pressure would come, which is called XVA. And all 13 XVA would get mandatory and should be, which by the way would impact the option valuation of any currency. Now, whether this is GBP, whether this is euro, whether this is Japanese yen, whether this is Australian dollar, or be it any currency, it hardly matters. But in this whole article, expert Murex, this whole XVA concept is missing. Whole XVA concept, which I told you just now, is missing. But this is by expert. That is why I raised this voice many times in the system that both Murex and Calypso are legacy-based products. Now, why legacy? It means that no one challenged them and they feel that no one can challenge them, but they are wrong this time. Now, another beautiful thing is fundamental review of trading book. Fundamental review of trading book is coming live 1st January 2023. But there is a big catch. Previously, fundamental review of trading book supposed to live in 2020. But unfortunately, the banks were reluctant and then came the COVID. So it got deferred direct 3 years, 2023. Now, fundamental review of trading book, which is shortly known as FRTB, is live in 2023. 1st January 2023, which precisely means that we are near about 8 months away from FRTB. And I'm sure that banks are not ready for this. Banks are not ready for this. But Treasury Consulting would be having more videos in that regards very soon. Now, FRTB impacts two books. One is the banking book and one is the trading book. I'm not here explaining the difference between banking book and trading book, which I already did in my earlier videos on YouTube, so refer them. Big players, big hedge funds, big institutions, big banks, they take FX derivatives, which is shortly known as FXD. I repeat, FXD in both. Without quoting the name, they keep changing it. Banking book to trading book to banking book. Because currently we do not have such regulation which prohibited them not to make this happen. So they keep shifting, banking to trading, trading to banking. But after FRTB, this will pause, which would impact valuation. There are many things, capital floor, ceiling floor. I'm not covering everything in this video. But Murex not discuss that. You know, guys, a competent person always think beyond expectation, like Steve Jobs. A non-competent person thinks within expectations. And Murex is a live example in that regards. See you in the part 3 and the last part, where we would be covering few important topics. Great time ahead.